I am Chris Jenkins. I am the writer and director of 10 Lives.
Hi, I'm Simone Ashley, and I play Rose in 10 Lives.
My name is Mo Gilligan, and I play Beckett the cat.
What made me want to tell this story? Well, there are a few things that led up to it, and partly it was because coming out of 2020 and when COVID was doing its thing, I got really sick too. And so telling the story of Beckett was a sort of my own journey to a better place. And that was sort of baked in. And maybe I'm seeing that after the fact, but it definitely fueled a lot of the story points that were coming. Um, Also, I mean, I love animals. Always have. I used to have three dogs. I have two dogs now, and two cats, and three tortoises, a cockatiel, no, I don't have a zebra. Yeah, I just love animals, and to be able to talk about this cat that comes back in the shoes of another animal, so to speak, was a lovely way to get at the characteristics of the animal and also at the characteristics of our own selves moving through life. The environmental movement is it's a very much part of my life anyway, but I didn't want it to be didactic. I didn't want the movie to actually tell you you must think this way. It was important to the characters in the movie, very important, and then by osmosis, I think it has more of an impact to a viewer when you're not telling them think like this.
What made me want to pursue the character of Rose in 10 Lives and her relationship with Beckett? I think their relationship, for one, really sold it to me. I think I've got pets as well. I'm an animal lover. So anything that really told the story of how animals really give us hope, I think. How selfless they are, how animals may not have the same worries and pressures that we put on ourselves as humans do. I think they very much live in the moment. And as humans in the modern day, we are struggling to do that. And I think their relationship is just so innocent, so fun. And I think that really is what gave me when I was reading it, and to the audience, hopefully, that sense of hope and that sense of just forgetting about everything else that happens in the world. And also, I love Beckett. Beckett is an old English word for the word beehive, I think, which I thought was really clever. So well done, Chris.
Thank you very much. Take that.
But when I grew up watching loads of animation movies, and especially ones that are centered around an animal, they're usually really fluffy and endearing and cute. But Beckett is just, he's got a bit of an edge. He's got an opinion.
Yeah.
He's really cool. And I loved that. I thought it was so different. And I think it's something that the adults will enjoy in this as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think being able to voice a cat, because I'll be honest, I'm a dog person. So
Yeah, okay.
there was a part of me when I had the first session where I was like, I feel like my loyalties are to my dog a little bit. So I don't know how I feel voicing a cat, but I think the more I got to read the script and how everyone reacts to Beckett around me, where he becomes this real like pampered cat, but then his kind of mission is just like, oh, like Rose, I want to make it back up to you, which is what I started, as I read the script. And there's times where we'd be in the booth and I'd read the script and I'm like, oh my God, that's so sad. Wow.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and then Chris will be like, yep, that's the line. I'm like, wow, this is deep.
Yeah.
But I think that was the joy of each time we got to be like recording in the booth, and you get to give life to this animated character at times, which it's just it's almost as Chris's imagination, but you get to like really give it that kind of soul a little bit, which is quite beautiful.
Yeah, I think you have to use your imagination when you're in a booth and it's just the black soundproof walls around you and you've got your screen and your microphone. I remember we were recording the scene with the horse.
Yes.
And I had to really imagine there was this horse that I was in front of. And I've spent time with horses, so I could relate, but you have to use your imagination. You've got to really be there and just dig deep in that childlike kind of spark. And And yeah, it's different. You're not in the makeup chair at 4 a.m. You're not on set all day. You're there in the booth, and you're just, it's like all the other senses are cut off. You're just using your voice.
I put makeup on to appear on Zoom.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, now I feel I should have done that, Chris.
Yeah, well, I'm just,
Well,
you know,
did you
next
do the
time.
same?
You know what, though? I think the acting for animation, it might seem that it's different, and I need to make a safe space for these guys to do the brilliant stuff they do. But so much comes out of it. That horse sequence, you
Yes.
remember it.
Mm-hmm.
The the delicacy, the kindness that you approached the horse goes straight to the animator's brains and then becomes something else. And I think that's what animation does at its very best. It transcends the ordinary. It takes you to yet another place because it's storybook, you know, it's like, you know, all those lovely memories of being read stories as a kid. You're taking that and you're going with it and allowing kids to really fall into this world. And I mean, both you guys are amazing.
Oh
The
no,
way
thank
that you just, I mean, not everybody does it. You guys are extraordinary. Wonderful experience.
I would
Definitely.
partly say with Chris's direction, this was something that was extremely new to me. So you know, I'm so used to being on screen, being funny, where people can see what I'm doing. So this was quite different because it's my voice that's doing
Yeah.
the humor at times. And I think there was a moment, we spoke about this yesterday, where I had to pretend to squeeze up a drain pipe, and
Yeah.
you have to like put your ego aside and just be like, okay, cool. Let's just, how would someone squeeze up a drain pipe and then get onto the top of a chimney and then get taken away by like an eagle? Like you have to like think out the box, but you can't you can't have an ego, which was quite nice actually. You know, sometimes I don't know what it's like for you when you're being on set and you've got so many other personalities.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're by yourself, you can be silly. You can
Yes, yeah.
You can there's no bounds to what you can do in the booth of how sick. Because sometimes, you know, there's times where I've been on a set and I'm like, oh, I want to do that thing, but I might feel a bit silly or might be told that, oh, cut. So when you're in the booth, Chris is beautiful. Just like, just go with it. Just pretend to be a horse. And
Yeah.
there's times I'm galloping, being a horse. and I think that's what's really fun about doing this animated film, 10 Lives.
I think you feel a bit more vulnerable than you would on
Yeah.
camera, on set, on stage.
Yes, yeah,
Because it's
yeah.
your. We were saying this. Hearing your own voice is such a strange thing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it's very
don't
strange.
understand exactly why, but
Yeah, for everybody, yeah.
I think there was a scene where I had to be scared because I saw the badger. And
Yeah.
that was just all the different takes of like just screaming and just
From
like
the bed.
really imagining it. I loved it though.
I think because it's a film that adults are gonna love and children are gonna love. So there isn't any need to make it provocative when again you're just a rat climbing up a drain pipe. I think the humor in like the breaths you take or the little nuances of words you can say. And I think when I watched it back and I'm saying something and I'm seeing this cat react to it and I'm like, okay, that's what I find funny is this cat being like, oh, you know, me, Beckett the cat, I love eating and eating. And it's just those little things that I think that's where the humor comes in without like having to be provocative or anything. I think that's where you really get to find the humor in the cat or just little things like throwaway lines you can say that you're not even sure if it's going to make the edit and it does. Like I think there was a line where I said I was the rat and obviously the cat doesn't like the rat when he turns into a rat. So I said, I smell like earring back.
That stood out to me as well.
Yeah. And it was just a throwaway line we said. And I remember Chris being like, oh, that was hilarious. And I was like, oh, okay. It's those little funny things you think of. And then you think, earring back does actually smell quite hideous.
Yeah, I had to ask my wife about it, but yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Simone touched on this a little while ago. I want viewers to take away from this movie a sense of connectedness to everything and everybody else. We're such a me society now, and you see it in so many places, and it is pretty obnoxious. But this movie tries to say, value another being, value your own place in that other being's shoes. In this case, value your own life. It also asks the question: is it important? Is it the right thing to love when there's so much to lose as a pet owner? And so all those emotional things
Yeah.
are definitely driving at, yeah, of course it is. Life is about love. It's that you must love in order to have a life. And that's what I really enjoy when people have seen the movie and when they tell me. I like the fact that they're going forward with something better to tune into rather than just the news.
Yeah, I hope it encourages hope in people to love,
Yeah.
just as Chris really beautifully put it. And if people already have an animal they love or a pet or are seeking to have one, it encourages them to maybe, I think it just shifts your perspective of life when you have a connection with an animal and a relationship with them. I think it's to do with human ego, it's to do with all sorts of things, but the minute you realize you can go beyond like a language, connecting with something that's not human, like an animal, it really broadens your perspective in life.
I think for me it would be gratitude. I think being the voice of Beckett, he gets to wake up and he gets another shot at almost okay, I'm going to go down, I'm going to change this that time. And I think like that's what I've probably taken from being part of this project, is the gratitude of it's like, yes, you get to wake up every day, but it's also the same thing of like things can change in different orders, and like it shows it in the film perfectly where he does come back as a horse, but he's not the same. He's the same Beckett, but he's a horse, or he's a dog. And I think it's that, like, that sense of gratitude you kind of get, and I feel like adults and kids can sense that in some ways of like really being thankful for what you
Yeah.
have while you have it there a little bit, which is a nice touch in the film.